everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And it's Tuesday night and I'm here with a sketch challenge for you. Now, I'm pre-recording this because I'm still in Vienna. I actually come home tomorrow. I can't believe here I am not gone yet, pre-recording this for you. And by the time you see it, I'll be almost on my way home. So I hope you enjoy this sketch. It's kind of fun. You can do all sorts of things with it. I'm going to use the Happiness Abounds stamp set and then the beautiful paper that goes along with it. I'm just going to do some fussy cutting of the pretty flowers that are part of the suite, but I hope you play along. The sketch for this will go live on social media, Facebook, Instagram, in about half an hour after this video goes live. So I hope you play along and share your cards in my Facebook group. I'd love to see them. All right, everybody, and I will check all the comments after I get home. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. So let's switch over and get started. All right, so here's the sketch. I thought this was kind of fun sketch. So it's got some layers to it. So the card base is 5.5 by 8.5, and then you've got a piece of cardstock or designer series paper or whatever it is you want to use that is 4 inches by 5.25. Layer 2, which is the orange layer, is 2 3/4 by 4. And then basic white, 2.5 by 3 3/4, and then a strip across for the sentiment that's about 1 inch by 3.5. So like I said, lots of ways you could use this. You could use designer series paper, you could use embossed cardstock, you could use stamped cardstock, lots of ways to use this sketch. At least I hope you'll use it. All right, so let me bring in my supplies. Just realized I didn't grab a lot of stuff here that I stamp sets, but I do have everything cut. So I'm going to use, this is Pool Party, to think. It was looking awfully mint macaron to me, but as I looked at it more, it's definitely Pool Party. So 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. And as always, I fold into the raised line or the mountain just to get a nice crease on my cardstock, and grab my bone folder. Okay, so I've got my card base. Now I went ahead. I'm going to, like I said, I'm using Pool Party, and I'm using some of these really pretty colors of flowers. So I'm going to fussy cut these flowers out. You can use the dies that go along with it, but I just thought that I'd fussy cut. Now this is a piece of the designer series papers, but this is my favorite side, but I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to use this side. So it's got some Pool Party, it got a little bit of Night of Navy, some Granny Apple Green. And then I've got a piece of Night of Navy this is my layer 2, which is 2 3/4 by 4. And then I've got a piece of basic white that is 2.5 by 4.5. No, sorry, 2.5 by 3 3/4. And then I don't have a piece that is 1 inch by 3.5. And the reason I don't is because that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to cut some flowers, and it's kind of going to go across here and maybe up this side. So if you see my sketch, this piece here is going to be some flowers that I cut out and add. So let's see how this goes. Oh, and then I've got a piece for the inside of the card, which is 4 inches by 5.25, and then a piece for the bottom, just a cut from the designer series paper that I had and used on the front. That is, I think 3/4 of an inch by 5.25, just to go along the bottom. Okay, so let's start to put this kind of together, and then we can decide. First of all, I'm going to do a stamp sentiment on here. So I think I'm going to stamp "Sending many thanks for all that you do." That's my favorite sentiment in this suite. And I want to grab my Night of Navy. So we'll stamp this in Night of Navy. And I'm going to stamp it just kind of, it's not stuck very well. Let's make sure that's stuck down so it doesn't come. So I'm going to stamp it kind of up a little higher because I want to make sure I've got room for the flowers that I'm going to put on. All right, so now let's take, and I probably should have gone ahead and cut some of these out in advance because now you're going to have to watch me fussy cut. But fussy cutting doesn't actually take long. And if you watch what I'm doing, I've got my scissors and I'm right-handed. So I've got my scissors and I'm actually steering the paper with my other hand. So it just makes it easier when you're fussy cutting so that you don't actually steer with your scissors, but you're turning the paper with the opposite hand and just cutting around. And I'm not worrying whether I get too close to the edge. I'm okay with some white around the pieces. So don't think you have to, you know, get real close to these pieces. And I'm just going to cut a variety of the flowers and some stems, and then we'll make a bit of a garden out of them. Like I said, I probably should have cut these out in advance. So that's why I won't worry too much about getting them exact. And I can always go back in and add a few more details to my cards, but I'm just taking some of these stems as well. And I want to take some Night of Navy flowers. I love this paper. I love this whole suite. And we were talking, we did a stamp camp with the Creativity Abounds team at the end of October. So just last weekend, if from today, but a couple of weeks ago from when I'm filming, or you will see this video. And that was our 6th stamp camp that we did. It was hard to believe. We were kind of counting back. And the one we did earlier this year was based on this suite. And I have to admit that this Hues of Happiness was not really on my radar when I saw it. I thought it was pretty, but it was such bright colors that it's not quite me. But oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Oops, I thought I had another. Oh, here it is. Another piece. Now that I've got it, and I have used it so much. So if you haven't kind of looked at this, you might want to check it out because it is absolutely gorgeous. And as you're watching this video, it will be the 15th of October, and there is a seasonal sale going on. And that means that you can get stamp sets. And I can't remember whether I think they're 15% off. I don't remember exact the numbers, but stamp sets, dies, designer series paper, the non-specialty designer series paper. There's something else I'm missing. Dies. Anyway, big sale going on. And so you could get this, and it's everything like from the annual catalog. So this is one of the bundles and designer series paper that you could get on sale. Now, the cool thing about it is normally you save 10% off when you're buying a bundle, but it's actually the stamp sets are 15% off, and I think the dies are 20% off. And that means that you will actually save more by buying, say, this Happiness Abounds, not in the bundle, which isn't the case always. So anyway, something you might want to look at. I'm just going to cut one more out, and then I think I've got enough for the front of the card. As I said, I'm kind of leaving just a layer, kind of an edge of white around this. And that way you're not worried about, it doesn't have to be exact. And you can see how quick I'm going and it still will look gorgeous. If you want to, you can absolutely use the dies. All right, so I'm going to take this now that I've got enough of those cut out, and I'm going to stamp this, or not stamp this, glue this down using liquid glue. I love the color combination of Pool Party and Night of Navy. Now I'm going to take and just adhere this flat because I'm going to use dimensionals on my flowers. And so that way I don't have to worry about having too many dimensionals and too much popped up. Okay, so I'm going to put this about, say, 1/2 inch from the top and hopefully even on the side to side. There we go. And now let's just take, and so this is going to kind of vary, but we're just kind of going to put a layer of the flowers, and it's going to go up the side as well. So we'll just kind of put them up the side, tuck them underneath. I've got one more here, so maybe we'll put that one down there. There, isn't that pretty? So easy to do. All right, so now I've kind of got what I think is going to be. So let's grab my dimensionals. I love when you can just cut out, either fussy cut or use dies to cut out the images from the designer series paper. Stampin' Up! Is doing that more and more, and that's just so nice. All right. Probably, there we go. Let's put a green, or Night of Navy one, and then we'll put this, let's put this light one. Just kind of creating a border around the perimeter of my, or at least part of the perimeter of my card. So you could do this with stamped images as well if you wanted to, and then cut them out. So we'll put that there. Put this one kind of up here, and then this one in the corner. Just framing that sentiment piece. Oops. And then I'll take a glue dot, because I like to use glue dots when I've got pieces that I'm tucking underneath. So just take a glue dot and just put these two stems. Now I may afterwards, so that you're not watching me cut out, I may actually go back in and add some more of these little stems, but for now that's probably good. Okay, and then now this piece can go on my card base. And make sure I get enough glue. It's quite thick, this piece, now that I've got all of these extra flowers on. Make sure I have it going the right way. I do. Could add a ribbon too. I didn't grab any ribbon, but I did grab some of the glossy dot assortment. There we go. These are so pretty. These are the glossy dot assortment. They come in Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Pool Party. They're so pretty, and they're part of this Hues of Happiness suite. So I'm going to take and use some of the Pool Party. So they come in 3 different sizes. So let's take, they fit beautifully as centers on these flowers. So that's what we'll use on a couple of the flowers. Well, maybe just one flower, and then let's just add one of each of the sizes onto the card like that. And now I've got my piece of designer series paper that was the scrap after I cut my front of my card. I like it when there's designer series paper that is This side isn't my favorite. As I said, the other side of this designer series is my absolute favorite of the suite, with the dark Night of Navy background. But I love it when there is designer series paper that works so well as a background like this one does. The other thing I've done with this paper is I've actually stamped on it using tuxedo black, and then cut out the shapes. So I stamped the flower images and then cut them out with the dies. So there is no background stamps for the stamps in this set. So they're all outline images. So you really have to kind of either color them, or you can stamp them as I did in the tuxedo black on the designer series paper and then cut them out, either fussy cut them or use the dies. Works so well, so that you don't actually have to, if you're not a fan of coloring, it works really well to use that designer series paper as the background for your stamp. All right, so here's my sketch. So it's similar. So this is my piece that is this piece across. It's a little bit bigger, but as I've always said, sketches are just a guideline for making your card. So I could have just put it across the bottom, but I just kind of liked it framed around that the middle piece of my card. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out the seasonal sale. It is amazing. You can save so much. And it is on stamp sets, dies, and designer series paper from the annual catalog, not the specialty designer series paper. So check it out. And if you're interested, you can head over to my online store. All right, everybody, I will see you back live and in person on Thursday night, the 17th. And so I hope you'll join me then. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Happy Bye.